Hey everyone, happy Autistic Pride Day. My name is Timotheus Gordon Jr., and today we'll talk about living the autistic life. So, for April, which is Autism Awareness Day, we usually talk about, the pain of autism or what autism is or how scary autism is. Or for Autism Acceptance Month, which is the same month, and also Autistic Pride Day, and also Autistic Speaking Day, which is November the 5th, we talk about the great things of being autistic and the need for resources. But we rarely get to talk about the amazing things we do and how we utilize our autistic experiences to do things that we want to do in life, to enjoy our passions, to enjoy our job because of our quirks, as I would say. So, today I'll be presenting 5 amazing people on the spectrum who would talk about what it's like living their individual autistic lives. Keep in mind that all stories are their individual stories. One person's experience is one person's experience in this case. So, without further ado, I'll present the 5 amazing people.
Describe it is honestly, I would say it's kind of like in a way, I would describe it as something of a experience, if that makes sense. It's like you know that you feel normal, but at the same time you don't feel normal because it just seems like every action you do, it to you and your family, it seems okay, but when you do it out in public, it seems like it's not okay. And it makes you wonder what made you different compared to the person next to you. And when you found out that you are autistic, it just makes you feel like you stand out. And yet you have to it makes you it makes you stand out, but it makes you unique in a way. And you have to learn how the process go, how to actually fit in society. I mean, everyone is different in their own way. Yet for you, it almost has to be like you have to learn certain things a different way. That way, it will be easier for you in the future. And as that future continues, it does get better and better over time.
I define living my life as an autistic person and even my professional life in a way, being able to live in a way that's authentic to me, being myself, having my quirks, being able to STEM, and being able to have my interests as well as, like I said, my idiosyncrasies, like being able to have all of that and still be accepted and still be understood and still be embraced. That's how I define.
To me, living the autistic life is just being comfortable, with the quirks and the skin you're in, and accepting the fact that your brain works differently. It took me years to actually accept the fact that, my brain does work differently. So to me, is just being comfortable in your skin and accepting all the quirks and stuff that comes with it.
I have the routine I like to have. And when it gets disrupted, I have anxiety or stress. Like right now, I'm walking twice a day. That has the sense disrupting my routine, but I'm adapting well to it now.
For me, being autistic is more about living your life as an open-minded person. You learn a lot about the world around you, and you just don't care about what other people think or say of you. You're just being yourself.
So I want to first start off by saying that yes, I have been open, officially open with my sexuality, being pansexual, and as of recently being non-binary. So I'm a pansexual, non-binary female, and I've been open with both of them for a couple years now. Me being non-binary, it's been almost a year since I guess I officially came out as non-binary. So for me, living life as an autistic person in the LGBT community is tough, especially for me because growing up, I kind of knew that I have been attracted to the same sex, but I guess I didn't understand it because I grew up in the church. So I've been in the church pretty much all of my life. My mother's heavily involved and she's still heavily involved until this day. And I remember when I first came out to my mother, she just didn't take it seriously. And I was just shocked because, I was already dealing with a lot of stuff back then. And the only other person that I told about my sexuality that I came out to was really my therapist. And I just knew that if I came out to other people, definitely like my mom, I know that she wouldn't respond well. So I had to take that into consideration that, she has a lot of disagreements. So it was definitely tough. But when I found out that there are other autistic individuals that are in the LGBT community, I actually felt a lot comfortable because I realized that a lot of them, deal with a lot of the similar stuff. So I felt so that made me feel a lot better about that. And my advice to allies who wants to support um, autistic individuals in the LGBT community, just just listen. I would definitely say listen to us and um, don't gaslight us because oftentimes a lot of people tend to not take a lot of autistic LGBT individuals seriously because they think that a lot of us are just queer because we see that there are other people that are queer. So I would definitely recommend allies to just listen to us and take us seriously and just love us unconditionally.
My favorite hobbies are writing short stories, reading, watching movies, specifically art house movies. And there are rare occasions where I make short films. And the role that autism has for my passion is that I'm pretty much a person with over 1,000 ideas for stories. I could even write stories about autistic characters living a normal life without having to be victims of judgment caused by neurotypicals. No.
There's a lot of things that I like. I like to play video games if I have them. I like to watch sports and bet on sports. Which dates back to 1987 when my father took me to Las Vegas. When Nevada was the only state to have legalized betting. Now you don't need to go to Las Vegas. I have a strong passion for it. For all people with all types of disabilities. Not just autism. Well, yes, the unemployment rate is high for people with autism. We gotta fix that. You gotta bring that down. Unemployment rate for people with intellectual and disabilities high. We need to bring those numbers down. And I like to say is that a passionate fight for the underdog, the ones who have been oppressed and put down by society for many generations.
So for me, with the first question, so currently right now, my passion includes public speaking, activism, advocacy, music, and social media. I also love, writing as well, and how I'm able to include those things when it comes to, my daily routine. So I do a lot of speeches. So I'm very open when it comes to sharing my story. And I always make sure when it comes to just being transparent that I'm telling the entire truth about, who I am and what I do. Because for years, I will always, hold back and try to be someone that I'm not just to fit in with other people. But now I just, I just implement my passions and my hobbies and just even being autistic, with everything that I do because I came to the conclusion that it is who I am and I love being autistic. So I make sure that with everything that I do, with the social media content that I post, and also when I share my story to other individuals, I make sure that I include those things.
So first of all, besides autism acceptance, my passion is geography and travel and geology, like the world, the earth itself is my passion. Um, my autism in the way that I do things, it does play a role in the fact that I'm very much, drilled into my interest. I'm in tune with the fact every time I travel somewhere, I'm very much in tune with the place I'm in. Just because it's a passion of mine, I get very much in tune with the nature and, the geological and the geographical parts of a place. And so by being very much in tune with something that I'm very interested in like that, it helps me to be able to dive in and be able to experience the place that I'm in and actually relate to it in a way that you can't do it in a textbook. So yes, basically it helps me to like dive in deeper than what a normal person would. So they both go hand in hand because of the fact that I'm able to teach other people not only how to travel, but creating courses to help people with autism live their best lives and to help people with autism navigate different things that concern us, like, business or dating, which I'm coming out with a dating course. Something like that not only helps me to be able to dive into and devote more time to my special interest of travel, but it also helps me to I'm able to incorporate my special interest in a lot of these things because like the lessons that I teach in my courses that are coming up and the lessons that I teach in my book that is actually out right now, Musings of an Autistic Traveling Goddess, on Amazon. So those lessons that, I'm very much in tune with because of my special interests, I'm able to spill that out in the books by helping people with, lessons that I learned and I'm able to help other people with my entrepreneurship work to be able to relate to it the same way that I can and to use it to empower themselves.
Can you repeat that again?
Oh, sure. I'll. It's a kind of a two-part question. So the first part is, what do you like to do, or what are your things that you are passionate about? And then the second part to it is, how does your autism plays a role in what you like?
Well, what I like to do is to draw. I like to draw. I like to illustrate. I honestly like to do storytelling as well. Just tell a story, and how it affects me as a person of autism. It honestly, it makes me like feel like that I'm actually telling my own revised story. It's like I'm telling my own story to everyone else, and how my imagination just flows out of my head, plays into my head, and I just either draw it down or just, I would say, like, write it out, but I'm more of a drawer than a writer. Still, it's kind of like letting all of your ideas out into the open and just bringing them to life on a sheet of paper. It feels like that. You just got so much inside your mind that sometimes, for me as an artist, I just want to like let them out. Half the time, most of the time it works. Most of the time, the other time, half the time, it just feels like they just remain in my head and they play out like a movie. And yet I'm pretty much glad I am able to at least get those ideas from my head and put it on a piece of paper, and it works out. Because like a lot of folks like my art, they also like what I draw on there. And heck, I even learned how to do shadows. I knew how to do reflections. I know how to do 3/4 angles at a very young age. And that's all because I either saw it on TV, saw it, imagined it in my head, etc., etc. It's just like, it's like that's what my skill of an artist, I was able, and being autistic, that's what it feels like to me. Just having so many ideas piled inside your head, you need to let it out.
For individuals, so this is actually kind of a tricky question because, I'm still, dealing with this right now with my mom. And it's been difficult and it's not easy, but I would recommend individuals just to listen to us and just embrace us wholeheartedly. I tell my mom every single time just to, step a mile into my shoes, and see my world, and I'm glad that, my mom supports me wholeheartedly, with my public speaking. So I would just say that definitely support us publicly, praise us publicly, and also, um, I, you know, make sure that you are able to give us tips, but don't try to overdo it because there are just some individuals that try to overdo it. So um, don't be ashamed to help us, but also make sure that you have those boundaries.
Good connections. Just always have good connections with certain people who know how to handle folks with autism or any kind of disability for that matter. Because it always helps to at least have your field have always good to expand and be open-minded about what opportunities are out there. My mother had to like find a lot of connections and connections to get me where I am today. She even offered to help. She even offered herself as part of those connections because she used to work at a radio station. So she knows how it feels to just go out there and advertise. She knows how to get good connections. So it's always good to help. If you want to help people with autism, you need to know where to look and find good connections, find good people who can understand, who can actually know how to handle people with autism and know how to at the very least, know that they are people and not spectacles. Just always good. It's always good to have like really good connections because it's kind of hard. Like you can find any connections, but you need to find one that is good for that specific person, especially with people with autism.
My idea for these kinds of people is that they need to educate themselves about autism through people who actually are on the autism spectrum. People on the autism spectrum surely are one of the most wonderful people who will tell you everything about how they are, how they behave, and how normal it is for them to be who they are. And the world is full of possibilities. And what people need to know is that children with autism are prone to entering a world where they have to decide what is best for them. And it's the parents, caregivers, and other people's jobs to help them live their lives as their own unique self. People with autism are easy to learn from. Um, Parents need to understand that people with autism are the most important people on the planet, and we should be very thankful that autism gives people a whole variety of opportunities.
Let them mature, let them navigate their own ways. I'll say that you got to let them be independent because you will not be living forever. Because one day you're going to die. And this person doesn't become independent and you die, then what? You got to let them grow. You got to let them loose. You got to take risks. Because parents are equipped to get guardianships over their child when they turn 18. Because of the IEP and the doctor tell them to get a guardian.
So first and foremost, I think because I know a lot of people, and especially here in America, we're so worried about, okay, getting a job and making the most money. And, we're all worried about capitalism, right? But what we need to understand is we need to push our kids to do the work that interests them, right? We need to push them to do what interests them, because if they don't do the thing that they're passionate about, and if they don't focus on their interests, then it's going to be hard, at least from my experience, it's hard to stay focused and stay the course if it's not interesting. So please emphasize that it's okay to pursue your interests. Like, don't shame your child, just because you may think that their interest is not, this big corporate moneymaker. Secondly, I think that it will help that if parents actually help their kid enroll in courses, or, signed up for, volunteer opportunities, or signed up for things that actually do gear toward their interests, instead of forcing them into a specific career path. Like, try to help them by, being willing to pay for classes, or encouraging them in the direction that they want to go in. And second of all, I would also say, instead of focusing on getting them to fit the neurotypical mode, trying to tell them what's not normal and how they should act normal and whatnot. It's very important that you work with your child's strengths rather than focusing on their weakness. Like instead, focus on helping them do things and put them in environments where they can thrive and where their weaknesses are actually not a problem, but put them in environments where their strengths are actually where they can utilize their strengths. So that's what I have to say with that.
Hey everyone, I hope that you all enjoyed the interviews from the 5 amazing autistic people. And if anything, I hope that you all got some valuable lessons out of those interviews that they gave. Me personally, one, the autistic experience is not a one story narrative. It is a spectrum of narratives based on race, gender, sexual orientation, interest, past in life, various backgrounds. And each story that we all heard is unique but worthwhile. Unique but worthwhile. And also, autism is not just a white cis male thing. Autism manifests in any community. There's autistic people in the Black community, in the Latinx community. There's autistic cisgendered women. There's autistic trans women or trans men or non-binary people. There's autistic people everywhere with rich experiences. And that's all I have for today, folks. If you would like to do something for Autistic Pride Day as an ally or even a fellow autistic, support the works of autistic people, whether it's buying their merchandise or sharing their works. Thank you all for watching, and happy Autistic Pride Day. Take care, everyone.